Hello, everybody. Please, where did the Jews come from? Biblically, we are made to know that the Jews, the Israelis, they actually lived in Jerusalem, Samaria, Judea, and other cities. That is known as Judea and Samaria is known as Gaza today. Maybe thousands of years ago. And even the Quran that was copied from the Bible, looking at the fact that Jesus was said to have lived here on the surface of the earth 2,500 years ago, and Muhammad was said to have also lived maybe about a thousand years after the death of Jesus Christ. So, part of the chapters in the Bible were actually copied into the Quran to make up the Quran. So, if not, all those biblical names, how did they get into the Quran? So, Quran also tells us that the Jews lived in those cities thousands of years ago. So, a lot of people that are saying the Jews should go back to Europe. Yes, biblically, the Bible tells us that the Jews will be driven out of their cities, and after 400 years, they are going to regroup. They are going to come back to that land, which happened in 1947. If you look at it, the Adolf Hitler tried to eradicate them. But today, they are back in the Middle East. And a lot of people are telling them to go back to Europe. Where exactly do the Jews come from? People that are telling them to go back to Europe, where do you want them to go back to? Huh? Before they came back, the Bible tells us that they're going to be driven away. Before they came back, Arabs took over the land. Despite the fact that the Jews came back and they are able to take over the land again, since 1947, they have been ready to have a two-state solution, to live side by side peacefully with the so-called Palestinians. In history, the history of a Palestinian is not up to 1,000 years. There is nothing like Palestinian in the Bible. There is nothing like Palestinian in the Quran. You have Saudi Arabia in the Bible. You have Libya in the Bible. You have Iraq in the Bible. There's nothing like Palestinian in the Bible. Those who occupy, even Yasser Arafat was said to have been an Egyptian. So if the Jews are ready to live side by side with their neighbors, why is it difficult for others to allow them to be? So you want them to, people, they are telling them to go back to Europe. Go back to Europe to where? To where? Everywhere that the Arab conquered, they eradicate the Jews. Before now, there were Jews in almost all the Arab countries. But today, are there Jews there? Even those who are Jews, because of fear, they decided to convert. Today, if you do DNA tests of some Iraqis, you discover, if you do good DNA tests for them, you discover that a lot of them are Jews. But because of the fears, their forefathers decided to change religion, to change their behavior, to become like their host. Like their host. Let's listen to this video.
Israel must and will win this war because the Jews have no other place to go. In 1290s, England kicked out the Jews and told them to go where they came from. In 1390s, France kicked out the Jews and said, go back where you came from. In 1490s, Spain kicked out the Jews, and there was the Spanish Inquisition where so many Jews were forced to convert, or killed, or kicked out. In 1500s, Portugal kicked out the Jews. In 1640, Ukraine kicked out the Jews. In 1880s, there was a pogrom in Russia, and many Jews were forced and kicked out of Russia. In 1930s, after the rise of Nazis, Jews were kicked out, and there was a plan to rid Germany from the Jews. But then, because England got involved and did not let the Jews go to Israel, Hitler came with the final plan and killed over 6 million Jews. In 1940s, the Arab countries kicked out the Jews and said, go back to where you came from. Now, the world is telling the Jews to leave Israel and go back to Europe, where they came from. So where did the Jews actually come from? Before 1948, the whole world knew that the Jews came from Israel. Now, they don't want Israel to live, the Jews to live in Israel. So the world must make up its mind. Right now, the Jews were kicked out from every corner of the world and were asked to go back to where they came from. And they have come back to where they came from. Israel is the homeland of the Jews. There's no question about it. And anyone who doubts it just needs to go back before 1948 and look and read every letter that was written. Nobody doubted at that time that the Jews are coming from Israel.